Right. Right, I think we're live. We are indeed. We are indeed. Right then, lads. How's everyone doing? Sorry for being a few minutes late. I apologise for that. How's everyone doing? Sorry for a bit of late stream today. Things have been a bit all over the place this morning. Sometimes life gets in the way, but we are here to chat. Tottenham Hotspur. Thanks to everyone for joining as usual. Massively appreciate it. Always, make sure to like the stream. Get your thoughts in the comments as well. We are here. Archie's here. Jake's here. Playing Robots is here. Louis is here. Milan is here. We'll talk about Milan. We'll talk about Emerson Royale. Because although he's gone, he still provides us with content and entertaining value, shall we say. I hope everyone is good. Lucas, how you doing, mate? Let's get started. So, in case you missed this yesterday, I don't really know how much truth there is in this, to be honest, but there have been some ITKs linking Tottenham to Simon Adingra from Brighton. To be honest, it feels like quite an obvious link and quite an obvious fit in terms of a young winger of that kind of profile, can play on both sides. Tricky, likes to take his man on, quick. I'm surprised we haven't actually been linked with him this summer in more concrete terms. But this all started yesterday because Billy T, of all people, got this message from someone saying, "Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm not an ITK of any sort. However, I had some information given to me yesterday by someone within the Brighton camp that we are getting Simon Adingra. I'm just passing this on as I know him, as I know nothing about him. Who knows? Who really knows? But I think Adingra will be a great fit. I do think Adingra will be a really good fit for Spurs. Let's see if there is anything in this over the next couple of days or so. Like I said, I am quite surprised that there hasn't been more of a link to this throughout the summer. Arsenal, I think, have been linked with him a little bit as well. Brighton, maybe they're anticipating a departure in that area of the pitch just because they've signed Gruder. They have got crazy depth when it comes. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at Simon Adingra. Obviously, mainly on the right, plays on the left as well. 22 years old, 6 goals, 1 assist for Brighton last season in the Premier League. Started 25 games. If we look at their squad, look how many winger options they've got now. Yakuba Minter, Simon Adingra, Matoma, Solly March, João Pedro, Ibrahim Osman as well. They've got so much depth in those wide areas, so maybe they are potentially anticipating a departure because they've gone big in the transfer market. They've brought a lot of players in. I think they'd ask for a lot of money for Adingra. But we shall see. We shall see what happens with this one. We shall see if this kind of gains any traction over the next couple of days. Again, it's just an ITK. It could be absolutely rubbish, but sometimes these things come off. Faisal says, "Watched not so many Brighton games last season, but seeing Adingra, he was so frustrating. IMO. To be fair, Brighton kind of crumbled last season. Yeah, they did. He did. I get what you mean. I think wingers like that naturally are quite frustrating, or they can be." Because they're trying to make something happen all the time, but he's 100% an upgrade on someone like Manor Solomon or even Timo Werner as well. So I would be all over this if Spurs were to sign Simon Adingra, but we'll see if there is any truth in this over the next couple of days. Coys McCoy's face, but the Katie Price news is gaining traction. Also, the Adingra news seems a bit suspect. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how much truth there is actually in this. But I think Spurs fans are so desperate for that winger signing, which, again, we'll come on and talk about it. There's been kind of more updates since yesterday's stream about Spurs' kind of hunt for a midfielder. He did tear Nigeria a new one for Ivory Coast, right? Christopher says, "I can't really see us signing another player until close to the window closing. There'll be so many deals happening towards the end." Yeah, I could see. I think you're right. I think that what business Spurs have got left to do in terms of incomings, I think will happen quite late in the window. I don't think we're going to see anyone come in before. I mean, it's Wednesday? We play on Monday. I don't think we're going to see anyone come in before the Leicester game. Maybe even not before the Everton game. But I do think there'll be another new addition. Hasn't this come from some random bloke who said he's non-ITK? Potentially. Potentially. But I think Spurs fans are so desperate for something. I think that, again, like stuff like this, when you read this, right, you just know that is just completely made up. But we shall see whether there is anything in this. We shall see. Hopefully there is, because I do like Simon Adingra. So we shall see. We shall see what happens, but there has been updates in terms of Spurs' outgoings as well, which we'll come on to. Some updates on some potential loans for some of our younger players as well. We've got, what else we've got to talk about? We've got Son Heung-Min's interview to talk about with Men in Blazers. I want to touch on that. I want to talk about Jose Mourinho and the fact that we cannot escape him, and he will probably be playing against us in the Europa League next season. I want to talk about Eberechi Eze as well, because I feel like there's been a bit of an update there. I want to talk about Jared Spencer. I want to talk about Vanderson. Those links came back yesterday again. And I want to talk about, there's been rumours this morning. Someone mentioned in the chat about Mario Hermoso and Sergi Roberto as well. I just don't see that whatsoever. Josh Hayden said, I don't want to get my hopes up. I know. I feel you. I feel you. Archie Parker says we need a Romero new contract. We certainly do. Jack Lane says, I can't lie. If we messed up a winger, I have a feeling more will break through, and I'm so confident about him. Well, let's talk about that then. So, we got news from Dan Kilpatrick just before the stream started, saying that Tottenham are expected to loan out youngsters Alfie Devine, Ashley Phillips and Jamie Donnelly before the end of the month, but Mikey Moore will be a part of Ange Postecoglou's squad this season. I said it a while back. I can't see Mikey Moore going out on loan. I don't think that is in the plan for him unless his career trajectory starts to go like this. I can't see him being loaned out. But Alfie Devine, I think it'd be good for him. Although I think maybe keeping Devine around for the Europa League, continue in his development, unless it's maybe a Premier League loan for Alfie. Ashley Phillips, I think, makes sense. I think there was rumours maybe to... was it Getafe? Yesterday, yeah. Tottenham, Getafe are among the clubs interested in signing Ashley Phillips on loan. But yeah, it looks like I think we all expected Phillips to move on, right? On loan. Jamie Donnelly as well. Again, I'd be interested to see whether this does happen with Jamie, whether he does go out on loan. I feel like it'd be good for him. Lucas says, I don't know about loaning Donnelly in case we don't sign a left back. That's a good point. Obviously, he played at left back basically throughout the whole of pre-season. So we'll see what happens there. But Mikey Moore, obviously, after signing that new contract, feels like he's sticking around. And also, obviously, we got the news yesterday or the day before that Dane Scarlett moved on loan to Oxford. In that same article from Dan Kilpatrick, he said that Will Lancashire has also caught the eye in pre-season and could be loaned out. I think there were links to Sunderland prior to Scarlett moving to Oxford, wasn't there? Those Spurs are short of cover at centre forward after season-long loan moves for LA Valiz and Dane Scarlett to Espanyol and Oxford, respectively. So it sounds like Will Lancashire could, alongside Mikey Moore, be sticking around. Obviously, I thought Lancashire was really impressive when he came on against Bayern and has been impressive throughout pre-season. I love the way he gets involved, puts himself about, and it's not just about the goals that he's scored, it's about his overall play, which I've been really impressed with throughout pre-season as well. So, yeah, so it sounds like Will Lancashire could be sticking around. Let me know your thoughts on that in the chat. Let's do a quick little poll, actually, on a couple of these loan lads. Because I want to see what you guys think. Right, let's go with Alfie Devine first. See what you guys think. And we'll have a bit of a chat. Gary says, I think Sunderland will be an amazing loan for Will. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think it'll be good for him. Arjen says, do you think we can still get Conor Gallagher? We'll come on and talk about that, because I want to talk about midfielders, because, again, there's been more reports to linking Spurs to get another midfielder. Hadn't seen a Dan Kilpatrick report in ages. Robert says, looking forward to Will getting minutes this season. I think there will. I think Will Lancashire sticks around, and I think there will be minutes for him. Connor Wright. We'll talk about Hermoso. We'll talk about Hermoso shortly, but Connor says Hermoso makes a lot of sense. Can cover left centre back and left back. Experienced, free, and also allows the possibility of building up with a back three and only Porro/Spence inverting. I get that. I do 100% get that. I'm with you on that. But again, I just think signing a non-homegrown player at this stage kind of causes some problems for Spurs. So I don't see necessarily Hermoso as someone like a priority, but I wouldn't be against it if Spurs can make that work in terms of balancing the squad. Saz said it'd be a good super sub. We'll learn a lot from Solanke. I do think that's true. I think Lancashire will learn a lot from Solanke. I actually think they're almost quite similar in terms of their game. Glenn Berry says, afternoon. How you doing, Glenn? Lancashire will be a fresh leg sub, I believe. Late in game, enough minutes to develop him. Also, Europa League action. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think he sticks around. And I think with the fact that Valiz has gone out on loan and Scarlett as well, I think you could be right there, mate. Okay, so 62% of you think Devine should be going out on loan. Let's do the same with a couple of the other lads. Or loan Jamie Donnelly. Make sure to vote in the poll, guys, to have your say. Christopher says, I'd be really annoyed if we kept any of these players unless they're genuinely going to get minutes. I really don't want to see another Tanganga situation where players can't develop. I mean, Tanganga was very unlucky with kind of the constant, chopping and changing of managers, chopping and changing of different systems as well. Is he a right back? Is he a centre back? Played at left back as well. But I get what you're saying. I feel like now there is a lot more stability around the club. I do think it's better for some of these younger players to develop now. We actually have a clear plan kind of in place in terms of their development and their path. And, I think we're in a much better position than we were when someone like Jaffet Tanganga was at the club. Obviously, he was there last season, but the loans didn't quite work out for him. Gary says, would you feel comfortable with Lancashire, Donnelly, Moore and Devine all starting in the Europa League against lower sides? Yeah, I potentially. I think you have got to sprinkle that with experience as well, 100%. But I wouldn't mind seeing that whatsoever. Sam Stewart says, who do you have more confidence in on the right, Johnson or Kulu? We're going to do a stream maybe tomorrow or Friday where we do a big preview for Leicester and we basically go through our starting lineup. So we'll talk about it in more detail then. But I think on Kulusevski, I think that a lot of people are writing him off as a right winger way too early. Way too early. And yeah, look, I do think he's more comfortable centrally. And if you ask me what I think his best, most effective position is for us, I think it is centrally. But I don't think he's done as a winger whatsoever. And I would probably start Kulusevski on the right first game of the season over Johnson. Okay, 56% of you have said loan to Jamie Donnelly. And finally, before we move on, make sure to get your votes in on those polls, guys, as well. We've got 150 people in here now. Make sure to subscribe as well. We're very close to 3.5k. I'm trying to get to the 4k mark before the Leicester game, so that'd be massively appreciated if you could drop a sub if you are new around here. Right, keep or loan. This will be the final one before we move on. Will Lancashire. Make sure to vote in the poll, guys. Because I do think there's a good chance that Will sticks around. I do think there's a good chance that Will sticks around. Jack Lane says, I think any of these youth players can be dotted in the team against teams like Panathinaikos. Yeah, good shout, yeah. What about Fenerbahce? We'll come on and talk about that. Ruben Rodriguez says 100% Kulu has to start against Leicester over Brennan. Sammy says Lancashire can be back up and playing Europa. Yeah, I agree. Gary Hunter says, I only just got back into training. What's that about? Oh, could Dorrington become our fourth choice centre back this year? Yeah, he's only just come back into training. I think it was his first session, I think yesterday maybe. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I think Alfie Dorrington will stay around at the club, get minutes in the under-21s and then go out on loan in January. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Okay, 80% of you at the moment have said Will Lancashire should stick around, so we'll end that poll there. 163 people in there right now, guys. Make sure, like I said, make sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Faisal says he wants Solly March rather than Adingra. Don't mind it. Right. So before we move on, if you, like I said, guys, if you could go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be massively appreciated. There is going to be a video later on where I react to some of your predictions. We got a lot of tweets. I got a lot of tweets yesterday. So if you, I haven't recorded it yet. I'm going to be recording it this afternoon. So there's still time if you want to. Where is it? Here it is. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, lads. I feel like I'm not with it today. The last couple of days, if the streams have been a bit low energy, I apologise. I feel like I'm. I don't know what's wrong with me. There's still time to go and reply to this tweet. Give me your Tottenham hot takes for the season. I'll be reacting to the best ones in a YouTube video later on. Already got some good ones there. And I also did a post. With some of your predictions as well. So I'll be reacting to those in the same video. So make sure to. Looks like Dybala is going to Saudi. Make sure to go and get the tweets in on that so I can react to it in the video. Let's talk about that quickly, actually. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me about this. Before we move on, I haven't spoken about it yet. But so Tyrese Hall, there was people were getting a bit worried because Tyrese Hall had taken some of the Spurs stuff out of his Instagram bio and stuff like that. But people close to him have said that it's literally nothing to do with him leaving Spurs. Because apparently there were like Championship or League One clubs maybe interested in him, whether that was on loan or not. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Tyrese. But I don't. Some people said there's nothing really there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about with Tyrese in terms of him leaving. So, bit of a non-story there. Okay, let's move on. Like I said, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, guys, if you wouldn't mind going and dropping a follow on my TikTok channel as well, the link's in the bio. And also, I have launched a new TikTok page, Ben Bowman THFC, as you can see there. That is going to be kind of my, my hub for all my Tottenham content on TikTok. I'm still going to be making Tottenham content on my main account, but this is like a dedicated Spurs page. So if you could,
I know what you want. I know.
If you could, it's too loud. That's too loud. If you guys could go and follow that, that's going to be my dedicated Spurs page on TikTok. Trying to get the followers up on that as quick as I can. So go and follow that. That'd be massively appreciated. Like I said, that's going to be the home of my Spurs content on TikTok. Okay, one thing before we come on back onto Spurs stuff, I want to talk about this. So yesterday, there was. I hope you can appreciate this is actually from Alex Moneypenny, who is an Arsenal fan. And don't worry, I won't click on the article because it is on the Arsenal website. But I feel like it's important to go through this before the start of the season. I've got a lot more Spurs stuff I want to talk about, so stick around for that. But there was a report yesterday saying that basically there's this new Twitter account that's launched that is basically going to keep fans updated on VAR decisions and explain kind of the protocol with that on Twitter live to fans. But there has been to match going fans, that doesn't really make any sense or help because in the stadium, what are how are you going to get the news, I suppose? Bear in mind, there's no really good internet in stadiums and nobody's got any signal. Anyway, I'm waffling. So, there are some changes. We won't spend too much time on this. We'll move on to Spurs stuff very quickly. But I think it's important to go through stuff like this before the start of the season. So, semi-automated offsides decisions in Premier League games, I think they'll come into effect in maybe September, October, once they've got the technology. I think that's the case. Lineups will now be announced 75 minutes before a game rather than an hour. Referees will now explain VAR decisions to supporters in the stadium. Added time likely to drop, and there is no winter break this season. So something to be wary of there. Gary says semi-automated offside is apparently a worse version of the UCL Euros one. They can't have the same one because Adidas own the rights to the technology, I'm pretty sure, that's in the balls. But yeah, we'll go past that now. Right. So we sort of spoke about this yesterday, but there was another. I don't know whether it was an update on the Athletic. I think they did the View from the Lane yesterday, the Athletic Spurs podcast. So maybe there was an update from there, basically saying that Tottenham's transfer business is not done. The club are expected to sign at least one more central midfielder. At least one more. So, and as Will said there, meltdown incoming. We'll very much see what happens. Do they see Eze as a central midfielder potentially? Like we said on the stream yesterday, it kind of feels like the area of the squad where we are most stacked. So I'm not sure this makes too much sense. Bearing in mind, I think a winger is the obvious player that we need to target. But maybe a left back as well, potentially even a backup centre back. So we shall see. So Poseidon Spurs Journo gave a bit of an update as well, saying Spurs are looking to offload Skip and Lo Celso. They'd say Lo Celso, they'd consider him as good as gone. This window, which explains the links to a midfielder. I'm asking around to see if Hermoso links are true. I should be able to get back on that somewhat soon. Don't think that any of this is new, but when I get an influx of DMs asking the same question, I'll put out a tweet, hence this one. Eze is in talks with City. I saw yesterday that apparently I think we spoke about this on the stream yesterday, that they'd apparently opened like exploratory talks, like informal talks, I think it was, with Eze. This was from Jack Pitbrook on the Athletic podcast. Unless it's a defensive midfielder, I just don't. Even with Skip and Lo Celso going, we've still got good depth in the midfield areas. But so we shall see. Apparently, Bakayoko's had a bid from Liverpool of 34 million. Okay, interesting. Where did you see that? So yeah, we'll see what happens with Skip and Lo Celso. Again, I just with Skip and the club trained quota that Spurs need to hit. I would be surprised if they let Skip go. I don't really get this one. Gary says it wasn't actually talks with Palace. It was internal talks about the potential of signing him. So, and actually, let's talk about Eberechi Eze, because Steve Parish did an interview where he was asked about Palace's transfer business. He was asked about Mark Gahey, and he said, I can't imagine a situation when we lose both our centre-halves amid bids for Mark Gahey and Joachim Andersen. Apparently Fulham are interested in Joachim Andersen. And apparently there's been no concrete interest yet in Eze and would love him to stay. I mean, does this imply that they are anticipating a bid late in the window? Does this imply that they think there's a chance they might lose him? He's not exactly come out and said that he's not going anywhere. To be fair, Steve Parish has never been the sort of chairman to come out and say, he's not going anywhere. The way that the deals are kind of tied up with some of these players makes it very difficult for these players to go. Anyway, so I don't think he exactly has to come out and say that he's not going anywhere. But someone was saying yesterday, I was on but he didn't seem too confident about Eze staying in that interview. I do wonder. I just do wonder. I do wonder if Eze still comes to Tottenham. And it's not necessarily the signing that maybe we desperately need right now, but it is a statement signing, and maybe they do see him as more of a midfielder. Maybe Ange sees that, they're obviously interested in Gallagher, that kind of box-to-box midfielder, good ball carrier. Eze can do that as well. And maybe, and again, those links to Jacob Ramsey, look, they don't profile very similarly. But I do wonder whether there is something in this still. There's 2 weeks left of the window, just over 2 weeks left of the window. It has gone quiet. There was talk, I think, in the Mirror the other day. I think I've got this here. This was after we signed Solanke. Tottenham still want to sign Eberechi Eze before the transfer window shuts. It's unclear whether they have sufficient financial leverage to agree terms with Crystal Palace after signing Solanke. I don't think finances would necessarily be an issue for Spurs, especially with the players that they're trying to get rid of. But I do just wonder. I do wonder whether there is something in this still. I think if there wasn't anything in it, someone big would have killed it off, Gary. Yeah, I kind of agree. And I don't know whether that's just wishful thinking. And obviously with the form that Maddison has been in lack of form that Maddison has been in over pre-season. Let's poll it. Let's poll it. Will Spurs sign Eberechi Eze? Because I still think there's a chance. I'm not saying we're definitely going to sign him. Am I coping too hard? I still think there's a chance. I do still think there's a chance that this might happen. And just not brought in a single player that can not play in multiple positions. Very true. Matthew says, I don't see us paying out that type of money this window for Eze. Would love to have him, though. Timo coming in almost rules out Eze this window. I'm not sure it does. People have said that it's because of the money they want up front. I've always wondered that we've been happy to pay it the whole time, but we're just squeezing Palace to the end of the window. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be so difficult. It's going to be so difficult. But I wouldn't rule it out. I think this one has still got legs. Whether it happens or not, I'm not sure. But look, like I said, Steve Parish isn't going to come out. Bearing in mind the release clause is in his contract, he can't stop him from going. Huey says it feels like Eze isn't who we're after. I think Anshi's Kulu filling in for Gio now to think of it. I think it's a right winger we go for. Yeah, but all the stuff that's coming out of Tottenham isn't necessarily... All the stuff that's coming out over the last couple of days is about midfielders. I doubt it until any big sales happen from Spurs. I think you can... Number 8 is what Ange wants, yeah. 60% of people said no. If you're prepared to pay it all up front, you should just... That should just be the last resort, exhaust any other option. Bokai Zhang says, Ben, I am your biggest supporter because you're one of my favourite Tottenham content creators on the website. I believe in you. Keep going. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. You reckon if we do sign him, it's before our first game? No, I think any incomings now for Tottenham will happen in that last week, potentially last few days. I think we will go into the first 2 games of the season with the squad that we've got now. If we don't get Ange's first choice right wing, he isn't the type to go for a second choice. Yeah. And I'd almost rather stick with what we've got in terms of those wingers rather than go and get someone that they don't actually want. I do kind of agree. I said this yesterday on stream with Seb last night. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. Is Eze an 8 though? He doesn't seem like the fit for what we've been spoken about. That's the thing. But then again, I don't know who is, unless they're going to go for Gallagher. Ben Hammond says, isn't the release call for Champions League clubs? That was Solanke, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Or European clubs, or like Big Six clubs. I don't think that's the case with Eze. Remember the last day of the transfer window is Levy time. It is indeed. Right, let's move on from Eberechi Eze. Let's talk about some other bits. So we talked about Oliver Skipp. So apparently Leicester are leading the race to sign him. Again, I would be surprised if Spurs let Skippy go. Did I see Tim Sherwood's bold predictions this season? I did not, but I did see Gary Neville's prediction. That Gary Neville has predicted that Tottenham will finish 4th in the 24-25 Premier League season. It feels like a lot of... It almost feels like neutrals feel more positive about Spurs than some Spurs fans. It does feel a bit like that. And I said yesterday, lads, I said yesterday about I've got some big news. Remember I said on stream yesterday I've got some big news? Regarding, not transfer related, regarding me. All I'm saying is, I'm not giving anything away, but I might be able to speak to Gary about this next week. I might be speaking to Gary about this next week. That's all I'm saying. But Gary Neville has predicted Tottenham will finish 4th in the 24-25 Premier League season. Like I said, it feels like neutrals are almost a little bit more positive about Spurs than Spurs fans sometimes. So we shall see. And again, I think that's kind of been almost borne out in the Solanke signing a little bit. Like, I feel like a lot of... I feel like everyone else, other than maybe the money aspect of it, I feel like everybody else is looking at Solanke thinking that's a really good signing, whereas some Spurs fans are almost like... oh, I'm not massively convinced, but it's taken them a while to win them over. But again, I've been kind of on the Solanke hype train from the moment we We've got linked. Saturday Social banned. It's not Saturday Social. Thank you, Football Lover. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah. Gary Hunter, let's have a chat about it next week. Yeah. Monday Night Football? No, it's not Monday Night Football. But who knows? Who knows? That's what I'm going to say. Okay. Dominic Solanke. We talked about this on the stream last night on TikTok for anyone that was there. Me and Seb did a TikTok live stream last night. Whether Dominic Solanke would start for Spurs. Hold on a sec. Sorry, I just got a text that I need to... Sorry. I need to reply to that. So Dominic Solanke is in training for Spurs now. So there were people wondering whether Dominic Solanke would start that first game of the season for Spurs, and sort of said I don't see why not. Obviously, there was chat about him potentially being injured, and he missed that last game for Bournemouth in pre-season before he came. I don't think he was injured, lads. I don't think he was injured. And he is in training. So it looks like I don't see why Dominic Solanke doesn't start that first game of the season for Spurs. But we'll talk about that on stream in the next couple of days. There he is with Sonny. How many goals and assists between these two next season? What do you reckon? Or this coming? I keep saying next season. I feel like I've got brain fog the last few days. So I apologise if these streams haven't been quite at the same level as before. I don't know what's wrong with me this week. Dominic Solanke and Son Heung-Min there. I think these two are going to strum up a really nice partnership. I do think that. So first session at Hotspur Way done for Big Dom. So I think he starts. I don't see why not. Again, like last season we saw it, and Solanke is much more proven than obviously Udogie and Van de Ven were. But he chucked in Udogie and Van de Ven first game of the season away at Brentford. So yeah, I don't see him not starting. Andy MC, I'm late. Welcome, mate. Welcome. How you doing, pal? So yeah, he is here and he is in training. What was this thing I got from Fabrizio Romano? Let's talk about this then. Let's talk about this. So Fenerbahce were knocked out of the Champions League last night. But that means they've dropped down to the Europa League. So Spurs fans, we all know how this ends, don't we? We all know how this ends. Fenerbahce are 100% knocking us out of the Europa League next season. 100%. You just know it. You absolutely just know it. That is going to happen. Also, yesterday we saw Emerson Royal unveiled at the San Siro. Look at this. And he's taking Kaká's number 22. Sammy says, I think Solanke will be in the Golden Boot race, I think, but not win it. 30 goals for Solanke, 25 goals and assists for Sonny. That is a big prediction. There he is. Look at the reception for big old Emerson. Fenerbahce Spurs final. Please don't, honestly. I'll be honest with you, lads. I've already booked the hotel for Bilbao was booked months ago. It actually was booked months ago because it makes sense, right? It makes way more sense because we got quite a cheap deal on a lot of us going out there on a load of rooms, and it was like we might as well do it rather than waiting near the time and spending a load of money. So please don't have to make me cancel them, all right? Bokai, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, mate. I do appreciate that. Was this before a game or generally all for Emerson? Surely it must have been before like a friendly or something. Surely. Solanke wasn't injured. He's never injured. That's one of his best abilities. Yeah, Solanke is very durable, which is partly why Spurs have signed him. Speaking of Jose Mourinho, apparently he's requested that Fenerbahce signed Sergio Reguilon. Remember this with the ham? Remember this? Chicken Royale is average at best, but he's not our problem anymore, mate, to be fair. Please for Emerson, looks like he's loving it and I hope he thrives. Yeah, I agree. I wasn't convinced about Solanke, but when you see his position during the games and how he affects the attack, he might become a fan favourite. I think he'll become a fan favourite very quickly. But apparently Jose Mourinho wants Reguilon at Fenerbahce. They will face competition with Barcelona and Galatasaray. to sign the left back. So we'll see. How have we end up with maybe a bidding war for someone like Reguilon? Speaking of Barcelona, Spurs have apparently held talks with Sergio Roberto about signing him as a free agent. The talks did not progress, though, and West Ham are in contention to sign a versatile midfielder. What, like, really, why? But obviously that one's not happening. So this is what we talked about earlier with Hermoso. So apparently a few ITKs have been getting this information about Hermoso, that Spurs have agreed to deal with him. Someone made a good point in the chat about he's actually quite a good option for Spurs in terms of his versatility. But again, I'm not sure I see it as a massive priority. But I do worry about the lack of cover for Van de Ven when we're playing in Europe. So I do think it makes sense. So maybe keep an eye on it towards the end of the window. So this was also what we got yesterday about Spurs opening talks with Monaco for Vanderson, and it was shut down very, very quickly. I just can't see a world in which Spurs sign another right back this summer. And again, it came out and was kind of poo-pooed very quickly. Alistair Gold said there's no truth in it. Ange Postecoglou wants Jed Spence to stay and be part of his Tottenham squad for the coming season, with links to other right backs currently believed to be wide of the mark. I cannot see Spurs moving for a right back this summer. I just cannot see that. With Spence and the way that he's kind of had that redemption arc, I just don't see it personally. So we shall see. Lads, make sure to get involved with this tonight as well. I'm going to be hosting another JLA Twitter space, another Royal Rumble Premier League predictions. Also, lads, a bit of fun. I put out this tweet yesterday that gained a lot of traction, over 348,000 people. I said, which former Tottenham player would you love to see under Ange Postecoglou? And we're gonna do a bit on it on Daring and Doing in the next episode. We're gonna build an 11 of former Spurs players to play under Ange, which could end up just being a former 11 of the greatest Spurs players that have played for us. But get yours in the comments and in the chat, guys. Make sure to get involved with that later. Is there anything I've missed that's kind of come in since we've been on stream? Apparently Manchester United are trying to sign Marcus Alonso. Jesus. This was interesting about the 115 charges. It is time now for the case to resolve itself. It's been going on for a number of years, and I think it's self-evident the case needs to be heard and answered. Alistair has a knack of pouring cold water on most rumours. Alistair Cold. Very good. Very, very good. Let's talk about this to end then. So, Son Heung-Min did a really good interview yesterday with Men in Blazers. I don't know about you guys, but I actually find the interview guy that does the Men in Blazers stuff quite irritating. The one with Ange I thought was quite irritating, but Ange came across really well in it. But Sonny was asked about what his legacy is at Spurs. And he said just that he's desperate to win a trophy. Look, I don't think Sonny's legacy, with what he's done for the club and the commitment that he's shown us and the loyalty over the years, will necessarily be defined by a trophy. But this, I'm so desperate for him just to win it, to win something, whether it's the Europa League, just as the captain as well. This interview was really, really good, so that is worth a watch. It's on the Men in Blazers page. He also spoke about Min-Hyuk Yang, and he said that on what he'll say to Min-Hyuk Yang ahead of his arrival at Spurs. He said it's going to be hard being in the Premier League. It's not easy at all. Be prepared. The language, the culture, the physicality, and just being a human, moving away from your family. I don't want to make him scared, but I just want to give him a realistic warning. Again, I think it's very good for Yang that he's got Sonny there at the club. I think that'd be really, really super beneficial for him. There's only one thing in my mind. I want to win a trophy. I want to do anything for this. Seeing Sonny win a trophy, lift that trophy as the captain for Spurs, would make me so happy. So happy. Could it be the Premier League? Absolutely not. Probably not. But yeah, I would absolutely love to. He just deserves it. He deserves it more than any player, I think. In this, it's hard to say it because if you put in the work over the course of a season, every player deserves it. But, as the captain and the commitment that he's shown us over the years and signing new contracts when things were tough, obviously stepping up in the absence of Harry Kane, not just when Kane left, but when Kane was injured. He's just, I love him. And look, he's a legend regardless of whether he wins something or at Tottenham, but I would absolutely love him to cement his legacy with the trophy this season because he is 32. You know, he's not getting any younger. So, and there's a question there: if he wins a trophy with us, will he surpass Kane's legacy for Tottenham? Let's poll that in the chat. No, I can't start a poll for some reason. Maybe I've done too many. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Do you think that if Sonny wins a trophy for Spurs, it will surpass Kane's legacy? Let me know in the chat. I want to do a poll, but it won't let me. Bill G, Benny, you're not going to do the hot takes tweet today? What do you mean? What, am I filming the video today? Yeah, that should be out later. That should be out later, mate. Where do you think Solomon is going? Honestly, anywhere, please. Just Surfowl says Yang signed for Korea merch. I'm not going over this again. We spoke about this so many times. I don't understand that. Matthew Capilla, agree on annoying interview, but he's popular over here in America for some reason. It's kind of like why Ted Lasso, I think, is popular over here in the UK. Oh, if I end the Eze poll, sorry, I didn't even realise that was still running. Sorry about that. That's why. Right. If Son wins a trophy, does he surpass Kane's Tottenham legacy? Bang. There you go. There's a poll there for you lads. And we'll end the stream with that. Easy Son chose us, Kane didn't. True. Yes, went a step further than Harry. I would love to see Sonny lifting a trophy for us, 100%. Gary says this one, I don't think Eze goes to City. Oh, well, because the 115 charges, yeah, good point. New right back doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't think it will happen. I remember early on in the window, Paul O'Keefe said late in the window they will look at left centre back, left back. It wasn't a priority right now. Yeah, that's very true. Sonny clears Kane easy. Wow. Son would have a way bigger legacy than Kane because Kane actually wanted to leave Tottenham at tough times. The thing is, you can't blame Kane. I don't think you can blame Kane, you know. Sonny's entering the state of a managed decline. We have to deal with that. Yeah, that is true. That is true, which is why I'm desperate for him to win it now, you know. I would say it depends on the trophy. Okay, what about if it was a Carabao Cup? How much does that change things? Kane is still a legend regardless. 100%, man. 100%. 79% of people said yes. Guys, make sure to subscribe, by the way. We've got 266 people watching right now. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I'm trying to get to the 4K subscriber mark before the Leicester game. So if you could help me hit that, that would be massively, massively appreciated. Hopefully we can get there before then. So guys, if you could help me out with that, that'd be hugely appreciated. We've got 5 days to go before the game, and there's going to be a lot of content. There'll be a lot of content before then. I've only ever seen Spurs win a League Cup, so I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, good point. Same, to be fair. You can blame Kane. It's his choice to stay or not. Yeah, Dybala to Saudi confirmed. Yeah, I saw that. FA Cup or Europa League, defo, not the Carling Cup. That's fair. Apparently the club wants 7 players to leave before the window closes. Where did you see that? I mean, if you kind of go through the players, that does make sense. That does make sense. Is there anything I've missed before we end the stream? Yeah, new episode of Fighting Cock's out now, guys. Go and listen to that. I was on that episode. Jamal, thank you very much, mate. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd massively appreciate that. There's the lads in training. Basuma there. Look, so I think this is what we can expect in terms of the Basuma thing. The Basuma thing will be dealt with behind the scenes. I don't think that Basuma will still be in the team on Monday. 100%. I think that. I don't see, and also this. Also, what I want to talk about was this. This book is coming out. I think Flav has got this guy on the lab coming up in the next few weeks. The thing goes on sale August 28th, 2 weeks and 2 days from today. Hardcover just launched. The definitive biography of Ange Postecoglou. And make sure to keep an eye out for that one. And yeah, guys, that's where we're going to end the stream for today. Make sure to go and drop me a follow on Twitter. Thanks for 3,000 followers, by the way. Make sure to go and watch this video in case you've missed it. Make sure to listen to this space tonight at 7:30. And yeah, lads, that's where we're going to end the stream for today. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And massively appreciate all your support. And I'll be live again tomorrow morning. There'll be my reaction to your guys' hot takes and predictions on the channel. Hopefully later today, if not tomorrow. And yeah, peace. Love you guys. Have a good rest of your day, and up the Spurs. Do, 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 do.